Hello.
You're
Hello.
behind.
Welcome back, everybody. I didn't see the thing. I was okay. Anyway.
Welcome to our goofy podcast.
Hey, driving. Yeah. Hey, Jay. Jay said he's driving.
Hey, Jay. Welcome, brother.
Please be careful, Jay. Please be careful. Anyway, I hope everybody's weekend is going well. I'm not going to say anything because that's your part, but I'm just going to say it's been very eventful. Everybody, I hope everybody knows that. But we're doing okay. The weather where we are is really starting to cool off, and I'm happy, but I'm kind of
leery.
Jody's here. Hi, Jody.
Thank you, Jody.
I don't really care for cool weather, but I don't care for cold weather. Cool's fine, but I don't like cold very well.
Yeah.
It postpones my life. It postpones my life. Anyway, my sister,
we live in Florida where it hardly even gets cold.
No, it gets cold.
According to me.
Good morning.
Anyway.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Hey, Paul. Hey, Joanna. I thought he said good morning. I thought he said good morning, everyone. Oh.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Are you on vacation?
Are you on vacation?
You on the other side of the world?
Yeah, please. No, don't be there. Be here or be square. Anyway, so my sister, how's your weekend going? Oh my gosh. We only have 20 seconds.
I've been watching what is going on in Israel against Palestine. Ooh, that's
I know it's true. Yeah, I know. It's kind of had us kind of glued, but anyway, so would you kindly smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with everyone. Everyone, get it out there, because this one's going to be a good one, because a lot is happening right now, and we're going to do some, he's going to do some updates. So please share this video. There's all kinds of videos on the channel too. New ones coming up.
I just put one out last night.
Yep. My sissy's still working on it.
Don't judge. Do not judge lest ye be judged.
Ooh, I gotta watch that.
And she's still working on her part 8.
Yeah, today I've been prepping this weekend.
Huh?
Oh yeah, she's doing that. She's a big prepper, so she's been doing.
And that's smart,
It's very smart.
We hope that we're all wrong, that nothing really bad is going to happen, but all of the signs are pointing towards several things that could potentially happen. Now, banks are still failing. In case you didn't know that, they're still failing. There's the threat of China, cyber attack.
China wants to be in control of the world's.
Well, when we're all involved, that's what he and I were discussing. When we're all involved in someplace else, that's when China may go into Taiwan.
Yeah, you're busy over there, so I'm going to go do my thing.
We're kind of focused
suspect
on
that might happen.
It's like, what's going to happen to Ukraine? Is it just going to go away now? Because we're not going to help them anymore. We're going to go and help Israel, which I know we have, but I don't know if you have all that.
Well, we have military all over the world. So if something happens in one part of the world, we have military.
Right. Yeah. Our allies, NATO.
So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight. We're going to update on the news, and like I've been doing every Sunday, what happened in the last week. And there's so much that I have to just pick and choose the ones I'm going to show you. Otherwise, we'd spend the whole time talking about news.
But do we want to do the Rumble and?
But I want to be able to talk about Revelation, which is what this week's study is going to be about, the visions that John has shown in heaven. But yes, we want to, some of the things I'm going to be talking about tonight could potentially get us kicked off of YouTube. So
So make sure you go to Rumble, please.
Yeah, rumble.com/Bible prophecy. And if you don't have an account there, create one. It's free.
Oh, she's back from vacation, so now we can see it.
So if you want to get a lot of information, then go to BibleProphecyandTruth.com. If you want to get some information and email Dan, then go to prophecyandtruth@gmail.com. You can watch the videos and everything and subscribe to their channel at youtube.com/prophecyandtruth. You can also go to rumble.com/Bible prophecy.
Yeah.
There's, if you didn't hear me or if I wasn't clear enough. And there's my own handwriting.
Oh, Rumble. Go to Rumble.
Yeah. No space there, though. Bible prophecy, all one word.
Yeah.
And
Bible prophecy.
All one word.
And go to BibleProphecyandTruth.com and sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm working on is I'm praying for God's direction. I've been having problems with web hosting providers, and I think I suspect that this is like the third or fourth one that I've changed to, and they're making me spend more money. I think they don't like me, and so I'm thinking about getting my own server, which is considerably more expensive. So, I'm praying about it and asking for God's direction and of course the money, but because it costs quite a bit. But it's just one of those things that the closer we get to the last day, the more this is going to happen. And like I said, tonight I may even get dinged from YouTube.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
But we're going to be on Rumble. Even if we get kicked off of YouTube, we'll be on Rumble, and my website will still be there. And you can sign up for the newsletter. And even if they take my website down, I use a separate service for sending out emails, so you can still get my newsletter. So make sure you sign up for those. Get on Rumble, so when they do take us down, you can still find us.
So if they were to shut us down right now, we would still be on Rumble, right? So we would
Rumble and Facebook, we'd still be there.
Oh.
Facebook, I'm sure will be. They already don't like me. They've got algorithms that it's kind of funny because my page on Facebook, I'm unable to use StreamYard to auto connect to it, which I can on other places on Facebook, because we stream to 3 different places on Facebook, but they don't let me. There's some algorithm that doesn't allow it to auto connect. So I have to go and just paste a link in on that page.
So if you had our own server, then that wouldn't help
Facebook.
Just your website.
Yeah. But yeah, I had 15,000 followers on that page, and then one day Facebook just knocked it down to nobody saw anything out of those 15,000. They completely obliterated anyone seeing anything on that page, just using their algorithms. It's still there. It still has all the followers. It just gets no views anymore. And it's just because of their algorithms, just because I'm speaking the truth. So, but that's eventually going to happen. We might as well just jump right in.
Yeah.
Because I've got quite a bit of news to share. And then we'll jump into the study on Revelation that we're ongoing. So I'm going to be jumping all over the place, but this is just the first thing I have on my list. Pope Francis has jumped 100% on board with the climate change ridiculousness. And I just thought this was so hilarious.
Join the.
Here's Greta Thunberg.
Thunberg. Not Thunberg.
It's Thunberg.
It's Thunberg. I know, but it's pronounced.
Oh, it's Thunberg. Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
So happy to meet Pope Francis.
Yeah.
join the climate strike. It's ridiculous. But I mean, this is one of the things we know beyond any reasonable doubt that the Catholic Church is very much on board with all of these things and it's really, really compelling evidence that they are actually the head of the snake, as we've talked about before. And we know that Pope Francis is all over transhumanism and the WEF and everything that's going on in the world right now. He's very, very much part of that. And he's jumped on this climate change thing now, which just proves that this is going to be one of the things that they're pushing, is this, everything's going to be about climate change. They're going to be doing, pushing this no gasoline and electricity, which we don't even have grids that can handle going all electric right now. So it's kind of dumb that they're saying that, but that's one of the things that they've been practicing for. In case you haven't heard previously, you've talked about it a couple of times, where the WEF was actually practicing for rolling power outages where the entire United States, in fact, the entire world they were practicing for they would bring the power grid down for 2 weeks to kill off a potential virus that there's no other way to kill. And then there's lots of other scenarios where, China, EMP attack, China, doing a cyber attack, all kinds of things that people are talking about. And that's why it's really smart to kind of prep a little bit. If you don't prep at all, you should at least prepare for, being able to survive for a couple of weeks, bare minimum, which doesn't take a lot. Just to have water and food, the ability to stay warm.
Paul said the climate emergency a farce.
Yeah, it's definitely a farce. We talked about that last week and the week before, where we showed where scientists are actually saying this is a farce. That the data that they're using for these climate change scenarios that they're talking about is all false. It's false data, and they're skewing it so that they can scare us into obeying them. And that's really all it is a control mechanism. They want to control us, and they're using anything they can. And that's why, Pope Francis jumping on that bandwagon, it's a very telling thing.
Mm-hmm.
So let me scroll here. So jumping around a little bit, a gang of illegal immigrants. Now, this is not in a foreign country. This is in Minnesota.
Bemidji. I know where that is.
Yeah, it's near
Bemidji,
Minneapolis. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not by Minneapolis.
Oh.
Bemidji is probably 2 hours away.
Yeah, north.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, north.
So this, I mean, this is going on, and this is just like I said. I bring you news that just happened. This is from October 2nd.
Yeah.
This is what these illegals are doing that are coming into our country. They're not a bunch of poor, destitute, homeless people that are escaping tyranny. These are young men that are being recruited to come here. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more, because there's massive, massive money helping these people come across the border. And we watched a video, or part of a video, I think a couple of weeks ago, where you see just crowds that are lined up waiting in the queue to come through. They're given instructions, directions, money, telephones, food, and clothing. They're bussed across. Some of them even given plane tickets. I mean, there's massive, massive coordination.
Not everybody's walking.
And money. Yeah, people are not walking for thousands of miles in flip-flops. I'm sorry. It is not happening. So, I mean, this is what's happening because of that. And here's what the author of this article said. It was painful to read about this case and just as painful to write about it. So before you read the details, think about this. Joe Biden helped make this happen. Thanks, Joe, for bringing these men in to rape these young girls in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Tired of it.
Yep.
Because he invited all these people to come and surge the border.
Before his presidency.
And tore down the wall and stopped its construction and invited them, continues to invite them into our country to rape and murder. Thanks a lot, Joe. That's the actual article. There's another one. This is the one I was talking about a little bit, where there's on Epoch Times. I watched this video, and it's corroborated by many other articles, where just like we've been looking at in the past couple of weeks, there's 80 different countries, 80 countries that are helping push migrants into the United States from all over the world, not just South America and Venezuela, but they're coming from West Africa. They're coming from all over the place. And the vast majority of them are military age men. There's a few families. There's
China,
but not very many. And then, like we talked about last week, there's these military special ops groups from China that are coming across our border. We know that there's massive amounts of Muslim militants coming across the border. And here's the funny thing. Remember last time I showed you a picture of a man holding a child, and I said, I wonder if that's his. They've done DNA tests, obviously not on everybody, but on people that come across as a family. They do DNA tests on many of them. And they found that 30% of these children that are being touted as a child of the person bringing them in are not even the child of that person. 30%. That's a third of the children being brought here are not the child of the person that says it's their child. Why? Because they're told that if they bring a child, that they have a much greater chance of getting more stuff, being ushered in quicker, and just getting, because that's what they're coming for. They're being promised to be given all of these. All of this stuff,
rooms
and be given a glamorous life and just be handed everything, and they're being brought here. These are not people that are just escaping countries. These are people that are being recruited by the United States, by the UN,
Venezuela,
and it's a huge human trafficking operation. There is massive amounts of money that are bringing them into this country. They're, like I said, they're given documents. They're given instructions. They're bused. They're flown on airplanes. They're ushered through these checkpoints, and they're brought here to
boats
infiltrate our country.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to hurry up and catch up to Europe and what's happening over there. And this is not speculation. This is fact. This has been proven by massive amounts of documentation and video. People, reporters going and just reporting on what they're seeing. This is a huge human trafficking operation.
Yeah, I saw a video today, and a reporter was asking all different people, so where are you going? One said New Jersey, someone said Chicago, some said California, Oregon.
Yeah.
They can just go wherever they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How is that?
Once they get across the border,
I can't go everywhere.
They're told you can do whatever you want. They give them money.
They'll help them.
They give them phones. They give them bus tickets.
Well, they pay for their Ubers. They get them hotel rooms.
Yeah.
New York is saying
food vouchers.
They can't take any more people.
I know.
I mean, California and New York already have a lot of homeless people. What are we supposed to do with our homeless people?
Well, the mayor of New York, if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, he said that New York has been destroyed.
I know, but he voted for Biden.
I know.
So
he got what he voted for.
You voted for that, though.
Yeah.
He said it when
the New Yorkers all got what they voted for.
All said. He said, and the mainstream media is quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sure are.
So, like I said, I'm gonna come back to this subject, but I've got quite a number of different things I'm going to talk about, and one is, of course, everybody, the huge news this week is Hamas launching this massive surprise attack, and as of today, there's over 700 now dead. I'm not going to show you videos, but I've seen videos of families where they actually were coming into people's houses and kidnapping people and killing people, leaving the rest of them there. It's horrific what they've done. And if you don't know this, it's really important to understand that children raised in these Muslim countries and in Palestine, in Muslim countries in the Middle East, they're raised from the time they can talk. They're taught that Jews are not even human. They're to be hated. They're pigs and donkeys that appear as humans, but they're not. And they're taught to hate them from early childhood. And so it's easy to recruit for Hamas and Hezbollah and all of these regimes that, Al-Qaeda, all of these are militant groups that are sponsored by Iran, and the billions and billions of dollars that they've gotten from the United States that finances all of these. Like this attack was, the Wall Street Journal reported that Iran helped Hamas plan this attack. That the Ayatollah Khamenei has praised the attacks, saying how wonderful it is.
Well, they just got $6 billion from the United States.
$6 billion, yeah.
$6 billion from the United States.
And that's in addition to $10 billion they already got. They got another $6 billion. And that's, it's a really sad fact that it's actually our U.S. money, our tax money that's financing the slaughter of human beings in Israel. It makes me sick.
It makes me sick.
But there's, like I said, I've seen a bunch of videos. They're kidnapping people, and if you know anything about what they do, what they think of these non-Muslim women, they're raping them and making sex slaves out of them is what they're doing with them. There's a video I'm going to show you in a little while that it's not graphic, but it's a senator talking about her visit to the border and what they're doing.
You may get kicked
down there. And it's a horrible, horrible video. I'm warning everybody right now that I'm going to play about the first minute or so of it. And what she talks about is just awful.
Paul said unconfirmed reports of some of the weapons we left in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, really?
All of those weapons we left in Afghanistan have armed Hamas and Hezbollah and Al-Qaeda, ISIS.
Oh.
There is a new ISIS, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, they haven't gone away.
Oh, no. Here's just another article. This is just stuff that happened this week, right? Here in Germany, a Muslim hit his daughter-in-law with a hammer because she refused to have an abortion. And I left this here because the Quran teaches that men are superior to women and should beat those from whom they fear disobedience. They're taught in their religion to beat their women into submission. It's It's the most horrible thing in the world.
On one of my videos, it shows a news clip where a guy's talking about that, and he apparently didn't get it taken off.
Oh,
yeah.
It's on YouTube.
Crime rates, and this is one thing that's actually rebutting a mainstream media lie that crime rates are soaring in Israel. Well, crime rates are only soaring among the Arab Muslims that are in Israel. Why? Because this is what they teach. You know, everybody has a knife at home. There's no excuse you should be using it to kill Jews. It's what they teach. This is what they're teaching their people in their mosques. The mosque that's down the street from your house.
Annie's house?
All of our houses.
Oh,
There's mosques all over Florida. There's mosques, especially in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, especially in Minnesota. Do they have one in DeLand?
I don't know. I know there's one in Orlando.
Oh.
But, yeah.
Okay.
So this is what they're teaching, and remember, there's taqiyya that they use on their new recruits, especially in the Western world. When they're recruiting people for Islam, they're lying to them purposefully. They're taught in Islam that they should lie, not that it's just okay to lie, but they are supposed to lie in order to assist in the ascendancy of Islam. It's part of their doctrine. Just some more stuff that happened this week. In Nigeria, Muslims abduct 25 members of a church choir who were on their way to a funeral. They abducted them. We don't know what they did with them. I mean, this is stuff that's. I mean, we don't ever see this stuff on mainstream news. But this is happening every single day. The stuff that we actually see is only part of what's happening. The chief of staff of Pentagon counterterrorism office served in the Iranian government. This is our chief of staff in the Pentagon, the counterterrorism office, served in the Iranian government.
So who is actually hiring her?
Well, the
current
administration. Yes. This is an Iranian spy working in the Pentagon. Anyway, moving on. New York State has given $23 million to Islamic groups that teach anti-Semitism and death for blasphemers. So anyone that's not a Muslim is supposed to be killed, according to Islam. And this is true. If you read and study anything about Islam and their doctrines, and they're, like I said, they're taught from a very young age to hate Jews. This is where anti-Semitism comes from. It's not because Jews are horrible people. They're just people like you and me. They're just people trying to go back to their homeland and survive and live. And, you know, we know that the Jews that are practicing rabbinic Judaism are not God's people. They are fallen. And it's the Jews that believe in Jesus that are the true Jews. And Gentiles that believe in Jesus, that love the Lord, are grafted into that tree of believing Jews. But we don't hate them because they don't believe. We don't hate other people that don't believe. Why should we hate them more? And there's the propaganda from Iran has been going on for decades now. Literally decades, where they're teaching the world to hate Jews. Everything that comes out about the Jews and how awful they are and how they control the world, it's all propaganda that has been invented by Muslims to make the rest of the world hate Jews like they do. And if you understand that, you know that if you're one of those people that believes the Jews are these horrible, awful creatures that aren't even human, that need to be killed, you have fallen for the propaganda of Satan, if you believe that. And here we are, giving tax money to groups. Here's a couple other articles. Iran is supposed to be able to make a nuclear bomb in less than 2 weeks now. And thanks to Biden for giving him another $6 billion.
Yeah.
For
finish it.
They don't use that. If anybody believes that they're using that for humanitarian aid,
that's laughable.
That's the most ridiculous thing,
isn't it?
They use it to build military, to supply arms to Hezbollah and Hamas and Al Qaeda, and they finance the thing that happened over the weekend.
Yes.
They finance this incursion into Israel that slaughtered over 700 human beings. Yeah. Injured thousands more.
Thousands, yeah.
And then, the Palestinian Authority actually admitted that there is no Israeli occupation. Palestine was a name given to the desolate areas in the desert where nomadic Arabs lived prior to World War II. It was not a population of a country, as they say. Israel didn't come into some heavily populated area and start kicking people out. They went into this sparsely populated little groups of nomads that they started dwelling amongst. And then, they got all mad. And then, of course, all the Muslims of the world have supported this idea that Israel is occupying land
that belongs to them.
It belongs to them from God.
I wonder what that guy did to get his finger chopped off.
I don't know.
I could just imagine.
Yeah. But that's the president of Palestine, I believe, or he may be the Hamas leader. No, I think he's the president of Palestine, or he's been around a long time. I forget his name now. It's right there on the tip of my tongue. I should remember it, but yeah, he's a very horrible man. In India, a minor Hindu girl was gang raped and beheaded, ISIS style, by Muslims. And I mean, I'm just showing you some news. This is not even all of the news, just some that I'm showing you today that happened in this last week. Mm-hmm. Here's another, Taliban education minister. Women must accept man's world as they are not equal. Remember, a woman is equal to half a man in Islam. Half, according to them.
I'm surprised I got half.
Some good news on the horizon. Israeli minister reads from the Torah in Saudi Arabia. Now, we don't care about the Torah. We don't care about this, but what it leads to is maybe a peace deal being signed between Saudi Arabia and Israel. There's still hope for that, which will eventually lead to the signing of the peace deal from the world, from the United Nations, and the rest of the world will agree and allow Israel to exist, draw her borders. And like I said, I believe that this is going to be a two-state solution, which Israel itself isn't even really opposed to a two-state solution so much. It's Palestine that is always the roadblock to any kind of a peace agreement and a two-state solution. Palestine refuses. And that's why I'm going to talk about this a little bit more later, but I believe that when Jesus said that Jerusalem would be compassed with armies, and then the desolation will be nigh, so that the abomination of desolation, when the Antichrist takes over the world, when we see Jerusalem compassed with armies, the desolation is nigh. So it's coming soon. Mm-hmm. And I believe that that's going to be because Palestine refuses to have a two-state solution, to live in peace. So the world, and it may come from the result of what's happening right now with this war, because there's a war going on now. It's been an official war between Israel and Hamas, and now Hezbollah from the north coming down through Lebanon and Syria is now joining the attack against Israel. Yeah. So Israel's got a two-front battle going on now. The United States sent a battle group, a naval battle group over there. A lot of other countries getting involved. I mean, this may escalate to a point where this may be what brings about the world coming together to make peace here and bringing in United Nations armies to keep the peace. That's how I see that prophecy playing out. I could be wrong, but that's how I see it playing out.
Paul said, if we read the Bible, we can understand the root of all the current turmoil. Well,
it's Satan. And it's man's greed and pride and and their love for violence. And, another country is going to build an embassy in 2024 in Jerusalem. It's Fiji. Oh. They've agreed to move their embassy to Jerusalem.
Fiji.
So this is just, steps in the right direction for seeing a eventual peace deal. Another article about in Cameroon, jihadis kidnap 30 fishermen and murder 10 others for refusing to pay taxes. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's called jizya in Islam. And it's the tax that they are given right to demand from anyone who lives alongside them that is not a Muslim. They can demand to be paid jizya. You pay me so that I won't kill you, is basically what it is. And so because these people in Cameroon, these fishermen didn't pay the jizya, they kidnapped 30 of them and murdered 10 of them. And those other 30 are being tortured right now. I guarantee you. I mean, this is just stuff that happened this week. It's just to raise awareness of what this religion really is that we're allowing to pour into our country now. Another article about the Pope preaching climate change. It was just a different article. This is the video I mentioned earlier. Now, there's no visual and other than the senator speaking, but she actually articulates the horror going on at our southern border, and it could be sensitive for some people to hear.
Yeah, it could.
So
trigger. So
if you're
warned.
concerned about that, please mute it until I move on past that video. But so I'm only going to play about the first minute or so of it. But I can barely even stand to listen to this because it just makes me.
I know I'm not going to get triggered, but it's going to affect me. I don't.
Yeah. So here's just the first minute or so.
Thank you for your leadership. one of the things that you touched on at the very beginning is that Democrats say we have no solutions. I guarantee you, if you take a look at this group up here, we have put forth solution after solution after solution.
Hold on.
I mean, you look at HR 2 and what you're trying to move here in the Senate. You look at the work you've done.
All
Guys,
right.
I would have never seen the border firsthand if this woman didn't know that I
Sorry
needed to
about
see
that.
Yeah,
it
can we play
immediately.
it over?
Let me
If you-
start it over.
If you can't hear it, then please let us know.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I've shared my system audio, so hopefully you'll be able to hear it well.
This lady is mad.
She's really mad, and it just listen to this. It makes me.
If you can't hear it,
Yeah,
comment.
please say something.
Yeah.
But so just the first minute or two of this.
Graham, thank you for putting this together. Thank you for your leadership. One of the things that you touched on at the very beginning is that Democrats say we have no solutions. I guarantee you, if you take a look at this group up here, we have put forth solution after solution after solution. I mean, you look at HR 2 and what you're trying to move here in the Senate. You look at the work you've done. Guys, I would have never seen the border firsthand if this woman didn't know that I needed to see it immediately upon entering the United States Senate. I followed up with a trip with John Cornyn because they care. These people down there, Senator Blackburn would talk to them. She knew them. We walked through and we got to hear women tell us their story. And their stories are brutalizing. And to Senator Cruz's point, if you're not telling it, that's on you. Because when a woman sits there and she tells you not just about being raped, but how many times a day she's raped, when she tells you about having to lay in that bed while they come in and out and in and out, it's disgusting and it's despicable. Folks, you look at the number of people that have died at the border because Joe Biden has made it more and more enticing to come here.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, this is a result of failed policies. We could fix this. We can't throw money at this and fix it. We have to actually change the policies. I looked in the eyes of CBP agents who said,
So I just wanted to play that first part because,
Wow.
man, it is so horrific what's happening at our border.
Yeah.
And these women that are coming, they're being enticed to come here. They're being recruited to come here, and they end up getting repeatedly raped, killed, abused, and trafficked, and oh, it is horrible, horrible to a point that's just unbelievably horrible that this is going on and nobody's doing about it.
Yeah, they're not even commenting on it. I've seen videos out there where people are saying, you know, something's got to be done. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. I mean, these people are coming into the country and they're doing that stuff in our country, not just at the border,
right?
In our country. Yeah. And you don't hear any comments to what they've said.
Not on CNN, not on MSNBC, not on the mainstream media. You're not going to hear about it.
Like that article I showed earlier, these migrants are going to places like Minnesota and gang raping
little
young girls. And we're doing nothing about it. It's horrible. This is the most horrific thing in the world going on right now in our country.
President of my lifetime, the worst president, even over Carter. And I do remember Carter.
You know, and I don't like to bring up politics because we talk about God and prophecy, but sometimes we have to, and sometimes it's appropriate because it leads to certain prophetic fulfillment. But this stuff, this is so bad. Yes, I can't not talk about it. This is so bad that we need to be aware of what's going on there. It's just, oh, I can't even watch that without just
feeling.
Oh,
yeah.
New York City, 3 Muslims plead guilty to beating and pepper spraying a Jewish man as they screamed, "You filthy Jew."
Oh, and they come to our country and they do that.
I know.
Yeah. How dare you come to our country and do that? Like You're going to come here and change our laws.
Yeah. And this is because they're taught from the time they can speak to hate Jews. Now, why? Why are they taught that? Because this is Satan's religion.
Yes.
Islam is the religion that Satan created.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't seen our videos or looked at my documentation on the exact duplicate prophecies that Satan set up in Islam that match the Bible exactly, that mirror the end time, where the good guys of Islam are the bad guys of the Bible. So he's setting them all up to hate Jews, so that when as Jesus said, when the abomination of desolation, when the man of sin sits in the temple claiming to be God, and you're a Jew in the area of the West Bank, you should run and not even get a change of clothing. Why? Because the Antichrist is going to give all of them license to kill and slaughter all of the Jews that are in that area when he takes over. And this is what Satan has set up. You can see it so clearly. And then, a little bit more on what's going on in other parts of the world. Remember, Europe is going down in flames because of the immigrants that they've allowed into their country.
Oh my gosh.
And Sweden's
so
they're talking about using their army now. They have to bring their army out to fight the Muslim gangs on their streets
Just
because of what they've done.
They've been letting Islamic people into their country for a long time.
Yeah, a couple decades now. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a new generation being born into that community because they've been there for a long time. They've had those open borders for.
Yeah. And this is actually this is taking much longer than I had wanted it to, because we really need to get into the Revelation study. So I'm going to breeze through the rest of this and get to the end, and then so we can start studying that. But I picked and chose some of the most compelling ones. This isn't even all the news. In Somalia, jihad group murders 7 people who were just drinking tea at a restaurant. A video of an Islamic apologist calling for murder of those who leave Islam. This is what's taught. If you leave Islam, they will kill your own family. Will kill you if you try to leave Islam. Armenia. They're leaving their cities because of the immigration. They can't go back. They said, we can't go back. All the things we created for decades have gone. The last bus has left this one city where now all of the locals are gone. They had to run away. Yeah. And then this is, if you think that, what did Jay say?
Jay just said, I can hear.
Okay, good. Thank you. If you think that the $6 billion that we just gave to Iran is going to help humanitarian aid, this article was before the war that just started over the weekend, where there's a lack of electricity in Gaza, because even all the millions of dollars that are given to Palestine for humanitarian aid never get used to help the people. They don't even have electricity, as they're arming thousands of soldiers to go and attack Israel and kill and murder. And their people don't even have electricity. This money does not go to humanitarian aid. This money goes to militants.
Weapons.
Yes. Yeah. Israel confirmed the 11 captives. Hamas claims 163 captured. I'm sure this number will go up as they confirm that they're kidnapping Israelis and taking them into torture chambers and raping them.
They just barged into people's homes.
There was one girl that I saw that was kidnapped. And then they showed a video of her. She's sitting on a couch drinking a bottle of water just fine. And I'm going, wait a minute. Maybe she wanted people to think she was being kidnapped.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just wanted to show the world that she's doing okay.
Yeah, they're lying.
Yeah.
Maybe.
This has actually risen to 700 since this article, but I put this here because the dangerous threat from the north, Hezbollah, has joined Hamas in the attack. So it's going to be a two-front war now, the north and the south.
Oh boy, this isn't the end of it.
Muslims around the world are celebrating the slaughter of Israelis. I've seen several videos of them just cheering and partying it up.
Yeah.
Cheering for the death of hundreds of human beings. Yeah. And Biden, this disgraceful piece of work, condemns any retaliatory attacks. So they're going into people's homes, killing, raping, murdering, kidnapping people, and they're not supposed to retaliate? This is war. It's just despicable.
Yeah.
Why has there never been peace between Israel and Palestine? Because Allah made killing the Jews an act of worship, according to Muslims. Killing Jews is an act of worship for them.
What about beating your wife? Is that a part of your worship too?
Yeah, because
it's all part of their doctrine. Yes.
Yeah, no, she's being sarcastic.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You know who? Biden.
Yeah.
You know, these innocent, here's another party. These innocent Palestinian civilians are cheering to the public display of lynching of Israeli victims of the terror attacks. They're cheering, watching them being lynched. People that were kidnapped. These are the people you support when you say free poor Palestine. Here's another picture of
that was on the news today.
Celebrating the massacre.
That little girl with look at her with the weapon.
Yeah, they're taught from very, very young age.
I saw this.
To hate Jews and training them to be militants. Yeah.
That little girl.
I know.
Or she's going to grow up and be treated like a donkey.
A dog.
A dog.
She's a dog. Because even though she's taking part in this, she's still equal to half a man, according to all of those men.
I'll beat her too.
That's right.
The Iranian parliament in session, screaming death to Israel. Israel will be destroyed. This is the goal of Iran, to destroy Israel. This is why they finance all of these things. This is why they helped Hamas and why they're financing Hezbollah to go in from the north. They finance and do all of this because that is their goal. And then, like I said, this may be the war that forces the world to sign a peace treaty. And force it with UN forces compassing Jerusalem. Luke 21:20, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. And I really believe that it's going to be UN forces compassing Jerusalem and Israel to keep the peace, to force peace in Israel, because if it's a two-state solution, they're going to divide Israel. They're going to divide Jerusalem in half. East Jerusalem is going to be for the Muslims, and West Jerusalem is going to be for the Jews. They're going to rebuild the temple on that big open space that's next to the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount, and they're going to have UN forces in there forcing the peace. I really believe that that's how it's going to play out.
If this happens,
I may be wrong, but I see that just.
As soon as this happens, We will then have 7 years for Christ.
When they sign that peace treaty. Yeah. When the world gets
7
together
years
and
left.
says Israel has a right to exist,
Oh,
that's when the final 7 years will begin.
you
And
can't-
and we're right. It could happen at any moment, really, especially with this conflict now,
well, we got to see some trumpets.
because, well, we don't have to.
Oh, before that. No,
that
we don't have to.
we don't know that the trumpets are going to sound before this event. We can be absolutely certain that at least some of them are going to sound before the Antichrist takes power, but we know that the final trumpet does not sound until at the end
Yes.
of the reign of the Antichrist.
Yeah.
And then another scripture, just to give you an idea that the Bible actually said what Muslims believe, and this is what they really do believe this. They are deceived by Satan. Remember, the arms of a flood is what brings the Antichrist into power. It's the flood of the lying wonders of Satan that has fooled and deceived the world. And he's got Muslims so deceived that they think that they're killing and doing God service, which is what Jesus predicted. The time cometh that whosoever killeth you will think he doeth God's service.
That's why they say Allahu Akbar.
Yeah.
Because they think it's God's
God,
service.
Allah is the greatest, is what that means.
Yeah. Oh my
And they
gosh,
think
that
they're
is-
doing God's service by murdering Jews
that is-
and Christians.
That's fit in scripture. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they do it because they don't know God or Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that took a lot longer than I was planning.
Yeah, but it was good though. We needed that.
This is, I mean,
Yeah.
we are so close to the prophecies of the Bible. They're, one day we're going to wake up in the morning and we're going to see.
No,
this
I think
happening.
that happened yesterday morning.
Well,
when I was
we
just like,
still have to
wait,
wait
what?
and see, but
Israel
yeah.
just got attacked. That's when I said that
Yeah.
could be the day that starts the change.
Yeah.
That starts
this-
all this change.
You might say, well, this isn't the first time they've been attacked, and you'd be right. But this is the worst attack since 1950s. And this is an order of magnitude that is now full-fledged war, where
Where-
Israel is not going to just stop, which they've always done. What was it, a few years ago? They fired like 7,000 rockets into Israel, and Israel only took out a few of their bases and then stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're not going to stop this time,
No.
and it's going to
It's full on
escalate
war.
most likely. So,
Well,
if that happens, this could be an event that leads directly to that. Yeah.
And we have deployed naval ships
Yeah.
over into
We're
that
sending
area.
a Navy battle group over to support Israel.
I mean, come
Yeah.
on. And then the world war, there's all kinds of things that
We
are
still got-
happening.
We
still
still
have
got the
China and
Ukraine-Russian
Taiwan.
war. We still got China preparing for war.
Poland is gathering deployed people onto their border
They're
Poland.
deploying to the border of Russia.
from other countries, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so much going on, and that's why I'm doing these news updates on Sundays now, because there's just so much. And I've got to cut it back a little bit. I can make my point, I think, without showing you as much, because now we've taken an hour and we hardly have any time to study Revelation. But so I'm going to switch gears now, and I'm going to switch to Revelation. If you've missed last week and the week before, please do go back and watch those, because that's where we talked about how to read Revelation, how John was shown these visions, and how many of the visions actually are happening at the same time, and they all end at the same point. And it's really important to understand that. And then last week we talked about the letters to the churches that Jesus wrote and how it applies to us as Christians, because those churches that Jesus specifically dictated those letters for were Christian churches that existed in that day. It was around 80, 90 AD that John was imprisoned on Patmos. And so this was 50 years after Christ that he wrote these letters to the churches, to Christians, and warned them. So it's really important that we understand those warnings and apply it to our own lives. So we ended there last week. And if you remember right, or if you remember that Revelation chapter 4, verse 1 is what begins the prophetic visions. A lot of people teach that all of the book of Revelation is all prophetic, but it's not. The first chapter is where John's imprisoned on Patmos and meets Jesus. And Jesus dictates the letters, and then chapters 2 and 3 are the letters that John then delivered when he was released from Patmos years later. And that's why we have the revelation of Jesus Christ, the book that John penned, because he delivered this letter after he was released as in obedience to the Lord. So verse 1 of chapter 4 is where he's actually taken up in the Spirit. He said, after this, I looked, and let's actually just go read it in the Bible. Instead of just taking it piecemeal.
The book.
Yeah.
The holy
the
book.
Yes. God's word. Yeah. So let's start. Let's just read
People
this
of the
here.
book. Isn't that what Muslims call Christians? People of the book.
Muslims call Christians people of the book. Yeah. In a very derogatory way, mind you.
I know.
Yeah, because they don't believe the Bible. They tell you they believe the Bible, but then the parts that they don't like, they say are all corrupted.
That's everything, though.
Yeah, pretty much the whole thing. Yeah. But they're all taught lies. They just believe those
They're
lies.
deceived. There's a lot of them that are just deceived. I mean.
So John says, after this, I looked, and behold, a door was open in heaven. Now, if you remember when we talked about what is heaven, is that in the creation, when God created the firmament and the layers of the firmament, it was called heaven. It's basically everything from the surface of the earth. The entire universe is heaven. And a door was open. So I can imagine John being on Patmos there with Jesus, and then this door opens up in the sky. and he hears this voice of the first voice, as it were a trumpet, saying, "Come up hither, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter." And immediately he was in the Spirit. And behold, the throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. So he's given this. It's almost like I imagine like a movie set of a sort, where he's taken into this alternate realm, this alternate dimension, and he's shown this throne room. And there's this giant throne, and he that sat on the throne was like this big swirling mass of color. It's just, if you read this and imagine what John saw, it's just, wow. And before the throne, there was a sea of glass like crystal. And it's like, wow, this is just this amazing vision that John has. And we see this same throne room throughout the book of Revelation in several places. If you're following along on my little article that I wrote, BibleProphecyandTruth.com, if you go to biblical prophecy in chapter 10, understanding the book of Revelation, and scroll all the way to the bottom, there's this link here to this a companion document which has the whole timeline. And I'm going to kind of go through that a little bit as we're going through this, just to show you my study notes and to remind myself, of course, of my own study notes. So I've got this. It basically follows the timeline of the actual chronological record of events. Now, remember, we started in Revelation 12, because this is an actual vision John was shown of Christ, of the birth of Christ, and how Satan tried to kill him when he was born, and then he was taken up to heaven. The human being, Jesus, was elevated and exalted to heaven. So that's the very beginning of the story chronologically, because that was in the past when John was shown that vision. But it was a vision that just showed him and us what it is. It's the plan of God from the very beginning to become a man and to dwell with a people, us, forever. That's the plan of God. At the very end, he's going to recreate heaven and earth, and we're going to dwell with him forever and have the entire universe or multiverses, we don't know, to play in forever. It's going to be, I can't even fathom how awesome it's going to be. But then, so Revelation 1 and chapters 2 and 3 went through that last week. So Revelation 4 begins the vision. And then I note in here that in chapter 5, 7, 8, 14, 15, and 19, we see the same representation of the sea of glass. And sometimes we see different things on that sea of glass, but it's the same throne room that he's shown here in chapter 4. It's pretty cool. And so he sees this swirling mass of color. Remember that God is not a physical being. God is a spirit, as Jesus told us. God does not exist in his creation. He created everything. He created the entire universe. He's not a part of the universe that created it all. He's a completely separate being, a spirit that created all things.
It's like he's on the outside looking in.
Exactly. And so this swirling mass of color is just it's like an angelic representation of the Spirit of God. Just like God, he manifested his angelic form into the earth many times in the Old Testament. Mm-hmm. Different ways. Sometimes as a big pillar of fire at night, a big pillar of smoke during the day, a burning bush to Moses, a man who walked in the garden with Adam and Eve, a man who appeared with two angels to Abraham. I mean, many times he appeared in an angelic form, in different forms. This is just another manifestation of an angelic form that John was shown, depicting God sitting on the throne. And there were lightnings and thunderings, and just, it was like, wow, 7 lamps of fire burning. It's absolutely amazing. And I don't remember if we talked about the 7 spirits of God yet in this study. We have before.
We didn't know what that was, right?
But the only thing that I can say is the only thing that I can come up with for what these 7 spirits of God is that what we're shown in Isaiah, where it's, let me show you here real quick. I believe it's in chapter 52 or 53. 53.
So quiet.
When I stop talking.
It's never quiet.
So, well, let me do this. I've got to go here, and I have a note on the 7 spirits of God right here. So, it's Isaiah 11. Sorry, my bad. I thought it was when it was talking about Jesus, but I forgot. What are you laughing?
I was going to tell Annie. I was just sitting here thinking about what I told you. I was thinking about the last Bible study.
Well,
I don't remember.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Remember how you were dressed? In the morning?
Anyway.
I don't know.
So the 7 spirits of God, we're not really told what that means. But here in Isaiah 11, we have a reference of the Spirit of the Lord, the Spirit of wisdom, Spirit of understanding, Spirit of counsel, Spirit of might, Spirit of knowledge, and the Spirit of the fear of the Lord. There's 7 things mentioned here that could be what it means when it says the 7 spirits of God. Now, we don't know for sure. This is just me speculating on what it might mean. We're not given any information about what that actually means. So, but I do like to bring it up because people ask that question all the time. What does that mean? We don't really know, but it's just the spiritual attributes of God, as far as we know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he's shown these 4 beasts full of eyes before and behind. The first beast like a lion, the second beast like a calf, the third beast has the face of a man, the fourth beast is like a flying eagle. And you find out that all 4 of these beasts actually all had the same faces on different sides.
Weird.
There were 4 faces and they had wings, and these are the beasts that actually show John the first 4 seals being broken and show him the spirits that are involved in that. And so he's being introduced to these beasts, which we also see if you look at my notes in Ezekiel chapter 1 and 10 and Isaiah 2, we see that the beast in this passage is a cherubim, which is a class of angel, and we get more information about them, basically the same type of description where they're these 4-faced angels that fly. And there's these 4 that are here in this symbolic throne room with God that show John the seals being broken. There's another angel that shows him other visions and things like that. But
why would he call angels beasts?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Well, if we go look at the original, the Greek, it's a live thing.
Well, I'm calling everybody a beast then.
So it doesn't mean that it's a horrible beast, right? Like in English,
Creature.
in English, if you say beast, you think of something bad. But
Yeah,
it's just
beast
a
is
living
an
thing.
animal.
It's a living creature.
Right, exactly.
Oh.
So that's really all it's saying, is that this was a living thing, some creature that was there, and this is what it looked like.
You're a beast.
So maybe
I'm a living thing.
does not look human like other angels would have a face. They would look like a person.
Well, they
but
can
maybe-
look like people.
Yeah. So maybe these did look more like an animal with wings.
Yeah. And I think these are very specific angels that God created for a very specific purpose. They're cherubims, and there's different types of angels that we see throughout the Bible, which is, and we've got that angel study that we did a while back. That's really interesting.
That was a good
all
study.
the different places.
That's a
There's so
good
many
Wednesday
places.
night.
Yeah, there's so many places that talk about angels and give us descriptions and what they are. So, in the Hebrew, the word angel is actually malach, and it's a word that's it means it's a deputy. It's a being that God created to do His work for us, for Him in the physical realm.
So the angels can talk to you.
Yes. They can appear. They can appear as pretty much anything they want to appear as.
Well, you can.
They married
hear them.
humans.
Yeah, in the Old Testament, the angels that sinned actually appeared as men, and they didn't just look like men. Remember, they had children. They actually took on the form of man, so much so that they were able to procreate. So they can actually become whatever they want to become. That's why, when we talk about aliens and demons, we understand that the evil spirits in the world, there's probably literally millions and millions of them. And because we're shown in the book of Enoch, an extra biblical book, that the angels that sinned were told that they had children in Genesis, but we're given much more information about them in Enoch. And the angels that sinned were around for about 1,000 years before the flood. So they probably had lots of children.
Yeah.
And all those children were confined to the earth as evil spirits until the day of judgment, because the angels that sinned, their sin was so grievous. And God did that as punishment.
Oh,
but
man.
They're here, and they can appear as anything. They can appear as a flying saucer. They can appear as your dead loved one. They can appear as a human being or a dog or anything.
Yeah.
And that's, they're
Like you said, they taught humans about magic.
well, that's what it says in Enoch, that they were responsible. The angels that sinned were responsible for teaching men the art of war,
murder,
magic, sorcery,
well, not murder,
abortion,
abortion,
things like that. Yeah,
well, murder.
These evil, wicked, vile angels, and that's the thing. God created angels when He created all things. At the same time, He created all of creation. He created the angels, and He gave them the ability to choose, just like us. The difference is that they're heavenly beings that have access to God in the realm where they exist, in the spiritual realm, and they have no excuse. And the blood of Jesus does not cover their sin.
Right. That would be.
It's for them to have sinned like they did is just horrific.
They were with God. I
know.
If
they went outside of what God had created them to do and did their own thing and sinned. Yeah. Anyway, these four beasts are different and created specifically by God for a specific purpose. And we don't know if there's only four of their kind or if there's more, but we're only told about four of them here. And then, like I said, in Isaiah and Ezekiel, we also see similar descriptions for those prophets that had seen them as well. And then there's the 4 and 20 elders. Now, since we're starting a new study, so I've got to remember to talk about all these things, because who are the 4 and 20 elders? I get asked that question a lot, and this is something that I go to chapter 22, and chapter 21. Forgive me. There's a new Jerusalem. It's a symbolic representation of a city, and it has 12 gates, and it has 12 foundations, and the gates are the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, and the 12 foundations are the 12 apostles.
Oh.
Now remember, Judas sinned and killed himself, but you remember that the apostles elected another 12th, Matthias. They elected him as the 12th apostle. Okay. So there are still 12 apostles, and there are 12 tribes. And I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that the 4 and 20 elders that are referenced in several places throughout Revelation are these 12 men. Are these 24 men? Sorry. Did I say 12?
Yeah.
Yeah. The 24 elders that are referenced represent these 24 men, the 12 apostles and the 12 patriarchs. What?
I think so too.
Yeah. It's not a for sure thing, but I believe that that's who these 4 and 20 elders are. These men.
That makes sense.
So John's taken up into this spiritual place and shown this vision of this sea of glass with a throne on it, and these 24 elders and these angels, these flying four-sided, four-faced angel creatures. It's like, it's just amazing if you
that would be weird.
If you read this and really just kind of imagine what he saw. It's like, wow, that is just amazing.
I saw a video.
You did? Somebody made a video of what they think it looked like.
Yeah, I was like, that's cool.
Wow.
I want to see it.
Yeah, you should send that to us so we can look at it.
Yeah, I want to see that.
So then in this same scenario, remember the chapter numbers and verse numbers were inserted by men. This is just one big long letter that John wrote. And it's the revelation of Jesus Christ. It includes the letters to the churches and all the visions that he was shown. So chapter 4 really just goes right into chapter 5. There's no division of anything. This is just, he goes and he sees all of these things, and then he sees in the right hand of him. Remember, this is symbolic because the swirling mass of color that is God is just a representation of his spirit. And then the right hand of him that sat on the throne was a book written, and it was sealed with 7 seals. Mm-hmm. And, who is worthy to open the book and loose the seals? And no man in heaven or in earth or under the earth was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And John wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book or to look at it. And then one of the elders, one of those 24 elders, said, "Don't cry. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof." Mm-hmm. Who is who? Jesus Christ, Jesus. The Lamb. And so I behold, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb, as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God, sent forth into all the earth.
There it is again, 7 spirits of God.
Yeah. And the only place we see this is in the book of Revelation. But like I said,
it could just be,
I don't know. It's the 7 spiritual attributes of God.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a symbolic representation of Christ, right?
Yeah.
The Lamb.
The Lamb.
In the midst of the throne. It's Christ himself.
Yeah.
And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat on the throne. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of saints. And they sung a new song. And I want to mention here, the prayers of the saints are also mentioned here in chapter 8, when we see this kind of breakup of the prophecy, where we see that there's this angel that had a golden censer and was given much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the saints upon the golden altar. And the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. It's just another place that we see that. And so, having under their harps, and they sung a new song, saying, and I love to just, I wish I could sing this. I wish I knew the tune. Saying, but of course, this would be probably in Hebrew. And it was translated to Greek and then to English. So who knows? But it would be cool to actually know this song.
Yeah,
thou art
really
worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to God by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. And he hath made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. And I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne and the beasts and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands of thousands. So many, many, many angels, innumerable.
Wow.
10,000 times 10,000s and thousands and thousands. Thousands of thousands. I mean, it's just an innumerable number that he can't even count. Saying with a loud voice, worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing. Worthy is the Lamb. I just love that.
Me too.
And every creature which is in heaven and on earth and under the earth, and such as are in the sea, and all that are in them, heard I saying, blessing and honor and glory and power be unto him that sitteth upon the throne and unto the Lamb forever and ever. And the 4 beasts said, Amen. And the 24 elders fell down and worshipped him that liveth forever and ever. Who is, remember from chapter 1,
The Alpha.
I am the Alpha and the Omega, first and the last. It's Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's his verse? Paul says, 1 Corinthians 2:9, but as scripture says, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has imagined the things that God has prepared for those who love him.
I can't even imagine with the new heavens and the new earth and what God has got ready for us. You know,
it's gonna be so nice
and we, as the
quiet.
scriptures say, we can't even imagine it. It hasn't entered into our heart. Yeah, it's just gonna be an amazing forever. Yeah. What were you saying, Diane, as I was so rudely talking over you?
No, I just made a comment that, it's just going to be so nice. All of this is going to be over.
Oh, I know. I can't wait for that.
Never having to deal with it again.
Yeah.
Yes.
No pain, no
so
sorrow.
I have a question. Are we going to have teeth?
We have
We
teeth?
can probably have teeth if we want to. We're gonna enjoy the marriage supper of the Lamb, so we're gonna eat.
Oh, so we.
Jesus
I was just thinking about
Jesus might even enjoy a glass of wine with us. Remember? Says,
Yeah.
I won't be able to have a glass of wine
we'll
until
be
I come in my
then.
kingdom. He said.
Because I was thinking about that. Like I woke up at like 2 a.m. and I'm thinking, I wonder if we'll have teeth in heaven because because we won't need to eat, and I guess unless we choose to.
I'm sure we won't need to,
I can live a
but we
vegetarian
will be
diet
able
up
to,
there.
and we'll be able to enjoy probably the best food we've ever eaten.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to be a vegetarian in heaven, though. I think I've decided.
Well, the 12 fruits. There's 12. There's a tree along the golden pure river. The city of the street was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. And then there was a tree
from the tree of life.
And there's a tree that bears 12 manner of fruits.
I'll be a fruitarian then.
And it's for, I can't remember where it is.
I don't want to be a carnivore in heaven. I want to be a fruitarian. Carnivore. No, an herbivore. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Revelation 22, verse 2. So that's where I wanted to go to chapter 22. In the midst of the street of it showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of God and of the Lamb. And in the midst of the street of it, on either side of the river, was there the tree of life, and bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's not symbolic.
12 manners of fruits. Yeah.
That's not symbolic.
Yeah, I think that's probably a real thing. Yeah, the tree of life, as it existed in the Garden of Eden, still exists. God just has it hidden, and we'll bring it back.
I
thought that was a tree. That was
the tree of life. Yeah, it's not the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. There's a different one. It's the tree of life.
Tree of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then, what time is it? 8 o'clock. So then, remember, this is just a continuing vision. This is not chapters 4, 5, and 6. Don't start different visions. He's taken to heaven. He's shown this massive sea of glass with a throne on it and all these things. And then he sees Jesus take the book, and then he begins to break the seals. Now I'm going to go, I know I like to quit at 8, but we got so deep into it with the news that I'm going to go for just another couple of minutes. And
Okay.
I'm not going to go through the whole 7 seals study. I've got it here. If you're following along on my little document, I've got a link here to what I believe the 7 seals mean. Now, there's a lot of speculation from literally thousands of people out there that have different ideas on what the 7 seals are. Now, we know that the 6th seal is the same as the 7th trumpet and 7th vial. We've seen that. And so the first 5 seals are something else entirely. The first 4 are the ones that these cherubims, these living things, show John. And I believe myself that this idea of this 7-year apocalypse and the stuff that everybody teaches about the seals is a bunch of garbage. We know that it's not a 7-year apocalypse. The apocalypse, the word apocalypse actually means revelation, which it's the revelation of Jesus Christ.
That's true.
And these seals are not apocalyptic. They are events. These are things that happen, but there's these spirits from Zechariah 6 that I believe is a parallel prophecy. Now, I say I believe because I can only speculate that this is so until the end when we know for sure. But just like all these other people that say they know the truth, well, they're only speculating, and they need to be honest that this is speculating what they're doing as well. But we need to match everything up with the Bible. There are things that we know for sure that it just tells us, but then we have to speculate on what it might mean on things that have not happened yet, or that we think have happened, but we can't prove 100%. So we have to be honest about that. For anybody who studies this and tries to teach it, needs to be honest that it's speculative. And so, but my speculation is that we pair this passage up, the first 4 seals, with these horses of Zechariah chapter 6. And it just so happens that it's Revelation 6:1-8 and Zechariah 6:1-8 that talks about these. And I'm just going to do it really fast. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but this is what I believe are the first 4 seals. There's spirits that have been released into the world. There's the white horse, the black horse, the red horse, and the pale horse, which pale, I think I've got it here. Pale, the word pale that they have here actually comes from the word chloros, which means pale green. And there's a couple other places in the New Testament that same word chloros was translated to green, but for some reason they chose to use pale here. But I'm absolutely 100% certain it means green. So quickly, and please do, there's a video that I have on this page. You can go to Biblical Prophecy and go to the 4 Horsemen, chapter 5 on my website, if you want to watch the video and study this for yourself in more detail. But the black horse it represents capitalism. As this spirit, this black horse spirit that was let loose into the world, as all 4 of these spirits, they're spirits of heavens, which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth, and they go to and forth through the world, and they have been for centuries now. So this isn't something that's yet to happen. They've been in the world. These spirits have been in the world and have been working on man. And if you notice when I go through this real quick, that the spirit of these horses is predominantly the way of thinking and the worldview of the people under them. Very much so. So the black horse could represent capitalism, which black represents capitalism in political and news circles. And if you're in the black, it means you're profitable in business. There's a pair of balances on the US dollar bills. The black horse went north, and then it went north into Europe, north into the northern countries. Very much fits the prophecy. I encourage you to study this on your own. And then after we finish Revelation, maybe we'll go and do this again and do the 7 trumpets again, because I'm not going to spend a lot of time on
trumpets.
The white horse went forth after the black. And so where the black horse went into the north country, the white horse followed. Certainly did. It doesn't mean it only went there, but it follows after the black. And it was given a bow, it had a crown, and went forth to conquer. And so I like to show this picture because it shows the black horses going into Europe, and how Europe is really Catholic. So is North America, very much Catholic. It followed the black horse. And the Pope wears a crown. Everything about the Catholic Church, if the Pope were to ride a horse, he would certainly be white. And, they don't have an army, but Catholicism is very certainly a conquering power. Because whenever the majority of a people of a nation become Catholic, then the nation is referred to as a Catholic nation. And the Vatican believes it has the right to make political decisions concerning that nation when they're a majority. It's very much a conquering power. In fact, the Catholic Church has been trying to conquer America for a long time. I don't remember how many. They were close to having a majority in the Supreme Court. I know that changed. I don't remember. I haven't studied this for a while as far as what's going on in the world right now. But the Vatican wants to control America. Now, if you've studied with us on the who is they and who is the puppet master, you know that the Vatican already controls the world, that they are the head of the snake. The secret society is controlled by them and has been for centuries now. This is a centuries-old plan that Satan has set up to control the world, where he's about to conclude those plans and rule the world through his Antichrist. So the white horse fits the white spirit. The Catholic Church fits it very well. Capitalism fits the black horse. The Catholic Church fits the white horse. The Catholic Church also fits the great horror of Revelation 17 and 18, which you were going to study in detail when we get there. The red horse fits communism to a T as well. It was given power to take peace. And what takes peace from the world right now but the threat of Russia and China?
Communism.
and that they should kill one another and had a great sword. Estimated 80 million Chinese have been killed in political purges since the communists took over in 1948. The government of the USSR killed 67 million estimated of its own people. And Russia is still very much a socialist nation. In fact, Putin really wants to bring the USSR back.
Yeah, he does.
That's one of his goals. The color red fits communism is red, as known in the world. So the Catholic Church is white, black is capitalism, red is communism. These all fit very, very well. Green is Islam. And it's the pale horse, the pale green horse went south, and death sat on him and hell followed him. And he was given power to kill with the sword and hunger and beasts of the world. Now this word beasts is kings in other places. In Revelation, the same word. So the kings of Islam kill. So with the sword, we know that the sword is Islam's preferred method of execution, beheading. This horse was given power over a fourth part of the earth. And I've got a chart here. This is from 2015. Thank you very much. So this has actually grown, but in 2015, there was 1.8 billion Muslims in the world, which was 24.1%. That has grown
25.
almost certainly to 25% now.
Mhm.
So given power over a fourth part of the earth, the black horse went south, or the green horse went south. Sorry. Look at where the highest percentage of Muslims are in the south.
Yeah.
And then look
Middle East.
at this page. I love this picture because this really shows where, and it says that the black horse spirit quieted the spirit of the green horse in the north where the black went. Well, where's the lowest population of Islam? And the north, where the black horse went. Everywhere the black horse went
Capitalism
has less Muslims than the rest. I mean, it just fits so perfectly. So that's in a nutshell, in 10 minutes. That is my speculation on what the first four seals and what they could very well be, that they are the spirits that we see in Zechariah 6 that have been released into the world and have been working for centuries to create these mindsets and worldviews that we see. If you notice, people that are really into capitalism have a very distinct mindset compared to the rest of the world. People that live under communism have a completely different mindset. People that live under Islam have a very different mindset. Catholics in the world have their own kind of worldview of the world.
They have their own prophecies.
Yeah, just like Islam. Satan set them up too. And we'll look at that at another time.
Not today.
But so I really, this is what I really believe, that these spirits from Zechariah 6 are a parallel prophecy of these first four seals, which are the four horsemen of Revelation, as the world knows it to be. So that's just real quick how I see that. So that's when we look at this here, where I was already. This is where we're at in the timeline. Now, if you remember in chapter 1, Jesus said the time is at hand.
Yes.
And a lot of people question that, say, well, if the time was at hand, here it's been 2,000 years. But if the time was at hand and these seals were broken, when was the Catholic Church created? In 325 AD, shortly after the time of Christ, which would certainly be the time being at hand, where the seal was broken. This vision that John saw happened 1,700 years ago, very likely.
Wow.
So the time was at hand, and this has been happening for 1,700 years. These spirits have been working in the world. And then the trumpets also may have, the first four trumpets may have sounded. There's a possibility, and we'll go through that again quickly next week, and then go into where we are in the rest of the timeline, the actual timeline, right? Because this is one thing, this vision that John saw is not really a timeline vision. He was shown this view of a heaven, a symbolic heaven with a throne, the sea of glass, and these things going on, we see that in many places throughout Revelation, this same like place that John was shown. It's not necessarily time sensitive or chronological, other than John was taken to heaven and shown this first. It doesn't mean that this happens some other time. This was just in that timeline where John was shown these things. Now the seals and the trumpets, I have this, we can't say for sure that the seals are the spirits of Zechariah. We can't say for sure that the trumpets have blown yet. So I put these in here, and then this is where we get to the actual chronological timeline on what we see in Revelation and what's going to happen next and what we're waiting for. So we'll get into all that next week. So stop sharing, and I'm gonna try to shorten up the news the news stuff. I know it's interesting, and there's just so much news now, but I'll try to keep it a little shorter, spend a little more time on Revelation next week, and we'll pray and we'll say goodbye. And thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Lord, for giving us the visions that you gave to John, for having him write it all down and deliver it to the churches so that we could have it today, Lord. And we know you said, I tell you now before it comes to pass, so that when it comes to pass, you will know and believe. Prophecy just strengthens our faith so much, Lord. We're so grateful. Thank you for telling us how everything plays out and how it ends. And we can't wait to be with you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Paul said, excellent program. Praise God. Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was good.
It is so good. I like going into this more in depth.
Jay said, yeah. Jay said, thanks for the message. I'm back. I'll get to you with another Revelation question soon.
Cool.
Still reading on it.
Looking forward to it, brother.
Okay. I'm curious to know how he saw these visions to write down what he wrote down, how he made sense the way he did.
I know, and that's one thing that I talk about when we go through the trumpets is that John didn't have tanks or artillery or airplanes or helicopters or a nuclear ICBM missiles. He didn't have knowledge of any of that as a frame of reference to describe what he saw. So he just described it the best he could. And
using different colored horses. It's like, how did you come up with that?
Well, he was sitting there going, I have no idea what this means, but I'm just going to say there's a white horse, a black horse.
It's the first thing that comes to mind. That's what makes me think of. So during that time, he would have thought of horses because he didn't have machines to think about or anything.
Yeah. Well, and the first four seals, I'm sure, where he was actually shown a symbolic vision of these horsemen, right? And so he wrote those down in the trumpets. Then he's talking about the army of horsemen and these, locusts that come out of the smoke of the pit and all these other things in these visions that he had nothing to describe it as. There was nothing in the world at that time to use as some kind of frame of reference, and so he had to just describe it the best he could.
Sort of like a parable.
I know, and that's one thing too, that the parables, like Jesus in John, Jesus speaks some very different things, that he uses language that he doesn't use and that we don't see in the other three gospels. But Jesus even says, I'm speaking to you in parables. And about the strange language he uses. He says, I'm speaking to you in parables, but in the day of the Lord, my day, that's when I'll speak plainly and you'll just know everything. And it's because, remember, the identity of Jesus is the mystery of God. And so all that language he used in John that confuses people so much was meant to confuse people that don't love him and don't understand his truth and who he is. But it's going to be revealed to the world in the end. And that's why he taught in parables. And the disciples said, why are you teaching in parables? He said, because I don't want them to know. I want you to know. Those that love me.
And Revelation confuses a lot of people too.
And prophecy was written in the same vein, in parables. And it is interwoven throughout the Old Testament and Revelation, and even some of the epistles, where it has prophetic statements from Paul. and it's all, you have to put it all together, and
Yeah.
and you can't understand it unless you do that, unless it all fits together like a glove. And we have all these people out there trying to make sense of it, and they can't. But they do YouTube videos and write books and teach from pulpits this nonsense that they teach.
Yeah.
And saying they
Yeah.
know for a fact.
Yeah.
They can't. You
Yeah.
can't know. It's prophecy.
Right. They're trying so hard to make sense of it, yet they
Yeah,
are not making
it's
any
got to come
sense
true
at
in
all.
order for it to be true. That's
Well, and then you've also got all these false prophets today. There are literally thousands of people out there claiming that God told me this morning, you know, and every single one that I've ever gone and investigated, if you go back far enough in time, you can see where they are a false prophet, where things they said years ago never came true. And and they're still out there claiming to be a prophet with people believing them. And it's just, but that's one of the signs Jesus gave, is many, many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many, he said. And that's happening. Yeah.
And you even said that people would start talking about aliens and more people would believe in aliens. And
we
I
are
thinking at the time, no, I think people pretty much run that theory into the ground.
And here it's come alive again.
Everywhere.
Yeah, everybody's talking about it.
Because
everybody.
Because I absolutely believe Satan is setting up the world for the fifth trumpet. He's going to call them aliens.
Yeah. And they're going to have, it's going to be really easy for them to think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because they're already starting to think.
And we'll talk about that next Sunday.
And then it's going to be hard.
trumpets.
It's going to be hard to try to explain to people that it's actually in the Bible. And they say, no, we know it's aliens.
Aliens, yeah. But that's the thing, is whatever happens, it's going to match the description that John wrote.
Yeah, it is.
And we're going to be able to go,
definitely.
that's it. Yeah.
We'll know.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll know. For sure.
Oh, yeah, we will.
We'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone for being here.
Yes, thank you so much. And if you would kindly smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the video everywhere you can think of.
Copy
This
and
is
paste
a
the
real.
link. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sharing, right?
Sorry. I'm stepping on your toes again.
Don't mess me up. Have a good night, everybody. Have a great first of your week.
And don't forget to go to rumble.com/Bible prophecy and sign up there, because
it may not stay up.
This video may get taken down, and
Yeah,
they
we
may
need to
actually
pray.
kick me off of YouTube.
I know, but we need to
I've seen
pray.
videos like that though on YouTube.
Yeah, I
so
know.
we may not.
So we might get away with it. But I know Google is really tightening things up since they bought YouTube.
Oh,
and
they've already got me.
They're tightening things up really, really bad. Just like they determine exactly what you get to see when you do a search on Google, which is why you should never use Google as your search engine ever again, because they're feeding you what they want you to see, and not giving you anything about what they don't want you to see.
Right.
So go and use Seeker or Yandex or DuckDuckGo or something else. Do not use Google. It's garbage. Just like AI. The Chat GPT is programmed and taught to tell you what they want it to tell you. It's very biased. It is not an autonomous machine. It's very biased with the programmers and what they want you to see. So,
yeah.
So Jay, Paul, Johanna, have a great week. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for
love
being
you.
here.
Jody, love you.
Thank you again, Jody. We appreciate
We know
you
you're there,
monitoring
Jody. We know.
Rumble for us. Really appreciate that. We love you all.
Sissy, I love you so much.
You
You know this is going to go super fast, right? You know.
Oh, I hope I get done with tomorrow and I go, oh, it's Wednesday already.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
What is this? What is this? What did Jay say? What did Jay say? I guess we're praying.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
So remember, if you want to get to the website, go to
Oh.
BibleProphecyandTruth.com. If you want to send Dan a message to the email, go to prophecyandtruth@gmail.com. You can also watch our live stream or watch the videos on youtube.com/prophecyandtruth or rumble.com Bible Prophecy.
Ooh.
Yeah. Thank you, sister.
Thank you so much. And now you got one more thing to say before you let me go.
Wow.
Just do what you're told.
No. Big sister says.
Hurry up. Hurry up.
I don't know how I started this.
That's your
Don't
fault.
forget, same bat time, same bat place, same bat channel.
Goodbye, everybody.
Love you all.
Love you so much.
God bless.